Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated Journato evening headlines on April 22, 2022. Dozens wounded in Israeli-Palestinian clashes at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa mosque. The Guardian, Israel and Gaza trade rockets as conflict escalates. The Times, Israeli raid on Al-Aqsa mosque in Jerusalem leaves more than 30 Palestinians injured. The Independent, violence breaks out at Al-Aqsa mosque compound. NBC News, Israeli police storm Jerusalem holy site after rock throwing. Ukraine, UK embassy in Kyiv to reopen next week, says PM. BBC, Boris Johnson says he will still be PM in October and announces reopening of Kyiv embassy. Guardian News, UK to reopen Kyiv embassy in show of support for Ukraine, Boris Johnson announces. Sky News, Ukraine war, Britain to reopen embassy in Kyiv, Boris Johnson announces. The Telegraph, Britain to reopen embassy in Kyiv due to success of Ukrainian resistance. French election 2022 live, polls show Macron ahead of Le Pen as he warns of post-Trump hangover. The Independent, French election, a battle of bad reputations for Le Pen and Macron. BBC, leaders call on French not to vote for Le Pen. Bloomberg, Macron versus Le Pen, the choice in the French presidential election is clear. Bloomberg, The Guardian view on Macron v Le Pen, no room for complacency. Madeleine McCann's parents release statement after Christian B. made official suspect over disappearance. Sky News, official suspect named in Madeleine McCann disappearance, BBC News. BBC News, Madeleine McCann, Portuguese authorities declare man formal suspect. The Guardian, Madeleine McCann, Portugal names convicted child abuser Christian B. an official suspect in disappearance as crucial deadline nears. Sky News, Portugal appoints suspect in probe of missing British girl. Will bowl washing, my hair give me better behaved curls. Video of Vladimir Putin gripping table during meeting sparks fresh concerns about his health. The Independent, video of Vladimir Putin gripping his table sparks concerns about deteriorating health. UK offers tanks to Poland in bid to help Ukraine as Boris Johnson reopens Kyiv embassy. The Independent, Britain considering sending tanks to Poland to support Ukraine's fight, Boris Johnson says. The Telegraph, Boris Johnson concedes Russia could win war and proposes sending tanks to Poland. Financial Times, Britain plans to send tanks to Poland in deal to help Ukraine. The Times, UK considers sending tanks to Poland so ally can give armored vehicles to Ukraine. Kevin McCarthy said Trump recognized some responsibility for Capitol attack, report says, as it happened. The Guardian, Kevin McCarthy said Donald Trump accepted some responsibility for January 6, new audio reveals. The Independent, Trump some responsibility for January 6 shortly after attack, McCarthy said, New York Times reports. Reuters, opinion, Kevin McCarthy's conversation about Trump resigning raises a big question. Marjorie Taylor Greene testimony, live, Congresswoman accused of using code word to direct January 6 riot. The Independent, Marjorie Taylor Greene appears in court over attempt to bar her from Congress. The Guardian, Marjorie Taylor Greene testifies in court over challenge to re-election bid. NBC News, Marjorie Taylor Greene lawyer claims Trump executive privilege. The Independent, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene testifies for more than 3 hours in hearing on whether to disqualify her from seeking re-election. The PM has managed to move on an inch or two from his law-breaking, John Rentoul. The Independent, India says no pressure from UK's Johnson over India's stance on Russia's invasion. Reuters India, Russian victory in Ukraine is a realistic possibility, PM admits. Evening Standard, Boris Johnson accused of breaking vow to ensure Putin fails in Ukraine, in hunt for India trade deal. Guns now leading cause of death among children and teenagers in US, data suggests. Sky News, guns become leading cause of death among children and teenagers in US, new data suggests. Evening Standard, American children are more likely to die by gun violence than any other cause. Daily Mail, guns became leading killer of US children, teens in 2020, analysis shows. Ukraine war, UK police describe harrowing evidence of crimes committed during conflict. Sky News, Ukraine, evidence of war crimes beyond comprehension, handed to Metropolitan Police. The Independent, Met's War Crimes Unit receives evidence of 50 horrendous atrocities by Putin's troops in Ukraine. Evening Standard, Ukraine evidence given to Met War Crimes Police, some of worst ever seen. ITV News, UK police say examining about 50 allegations of Ukraine war crimes. Ban on Russian gas would plunge Germany into recession, warns Bundesbank. The Guardian, Germany risks €180 billion blow from ditching Russian oil. The Telegraph, Bundesbank warns Russian gas embargo would cost Germany 5% in lost output. Financial Times, Germany recession looms if Russian coal, oil, gas ban hits power providers. Bloomberg, Europe pays the price for its Russian gas addiction, but the worst is yet to come. Ukraine war, country's top prosecutor accuses Russia of pre-planning mass murder, torture and rape. Sky News, Russians guilty of war crime horrors in Ukraine could face Nuremberg trials. The Times, US. Helping collect evidence of possible war crimes in Ukraine Attorney General. Texas oldest death row inmate says he will give victims' family big hug in heaven as he is executed for 1990 shooting. Sky News, chilling final words of oldest death row inmate who was put to death for murder. The Mirror, world's oldest death row inmate executed 32 years after killing cop. Daily Star, oldest Texas death row inmate executed over 1990 killing. Belfast Telegraph, Carl Wayne Bunchen, world's oldest death row inmate executed for murdering officer. Ukraine News, Live, Vladimir Putin accuses Kyiv of inconsistency in peace talks. The Independent, has Russia taken the Ukrainian city of Mariupol? BBC News. BBC News, what Vladimir Putin's staged appearance tells us about the state of the war. The Telegraph, opinion, Putin has one last cruelty in mind for a devastated Mariupol. The Washington Post, fears for hundreds of civilians trapped in Mariupol steel plant. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.